What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news and updates. And in this video we'll round up some of the updates and bits of information that we're going to get this week. Bungie actually have at least a couple of reveals lined up, some of them for Frontiers, but also some extra updates and bits of information about the episode Revenant, and that's coming up in October, so we'll touch on those, but also there's more discussion about things going on internally at Bungie, Sony's influence over the company, another one of their upcoming games, Gummy Bears, new information about Destiny Mobile, and a handful of other things that we'll talk about in the video. And so I hope you enjoy this one as always. But before we get into the video guys, today we've partnered with Geology to bring you this sponsored video. And Geology is a 35-time award-winning skin, hair and body care brand recognized as an industry leader in skincare products for their simple and effective skin and hair care routines, which are fully customized to each individual with proven straightforward ingredients. Most folks know that looking after your skin is a good thing, but having a good routine is the part that many of us struggle with. And that's why Geology make it simple, starting with a 60-second quiz which identifies which products can help you out. And for me, dry skin, under eyes and aging has been the focus. Let's be real, I'm not getting any younger. And so with every order, Geology send a personalized routine card which gives tips on how to use the products for maximum benefit, from basic cleansing to moisturizing and the morning and night routines to make skincare easy. And for me personally, I've gone from having no skincare routine to having a step-by-step daily process, and the results so far have been pretty awesome with no fluff and minimal effort. And so what are you waiting for? I totally recommend that you check them out using the link in the description box and pinned comment. And by using code Houndish70 at checkout, you can get 70% off your personalized skincare trial. Plus remember, there's also 50% off add-ons waiting for you in the store. So cheers to Geology for sponsoring the video, and all of the details are down below. Now though, let's get into the Destiny discussion for today. And interestingly, PlayStation have announced a State of Play, which will be happening today, September 24th, and that'll start at 3 PM Pacific time, which is 6 PM Eastern. And by no means is it confirmed that we are going to see anything related to Destiny there, but folks are anticipating the possibility that Bungie will talk about any of their upcoming projects, or indeed show a little teaser for episode 2. So we'll just have to wait and find out, but I thought it was worth a quick mention. Otherwise, there are other reveals and announcements this week. The first one will come on Wednesday, where Bungie say they've rounded up a whole bunch of community questions about codename Frontiers, which they're hoping to answer in the upcoming blog post. So I'm sure there'll be some intriguing insights right there. And additionally, for Thursday, Bungie have said in the twit they'll share a bit more information about the new dungeon, as well as artifact perks, some changes they have planned for PvP, as well as new rewards. So both Wednesday and Thursday will be packed with some interesting new information. As always, I will keep you posted on that. Final quick mention though, and Destiny will get another patch today at reset, which is update 8055, and that will include the increase to enemy density in Skywatch for those trying to work on the Legend title. Obviously, Bungie are hoping that this will result in more engram drops, and hopefully less frustration around that objective. We'll have to see if it plays out that way. But as always, there'll be some other patch changes there as well, and I'll keep you up to date once we get that info. Next up though, we get a bunch of rumors and reports about things going on internally at Bungie. And initially, Destiny Bulletin shared some rumored details from Bungie's ex-chief counsel about Sony's influence on the company. So Don McGowan, who previously worked for Bungie, has spoken to the Game Post and said that Sony have been inflicting some discipline on Bungie, and they indicate they believe this is exactly what is needed. And they said, much though it pains me to say it, it appears that Sony is inflicting some discipline on the former colleagues, and may have forced them to fix things that were wrong with their game. To be clear, I'm not talking about layoffs, but I'm talking about forcing them to get their heads out of their asses and focus on things like implementing a method of new player acquisition, as opposed to simply doing fan service for the fans in the Bungie C-suite and beginning to run the game like a business. He says, I still have friends in that environment, and I'd like them to keep their jobs. And went on to say that the initial deal with Sony for $3.6 billion was initially misunderstood by many within the company. And this is the future I thought the company should embrace after the Sony acquisition, a studio and not an independent company. But there were a lot of egos for whom it was important to pretend that nothing would change. And he says, I remember sitting there during the deal with Sony saying, do you think Sony describes this as them getting to pay $3.6 billion for the right to have no input in what Bungie does? And it indicates that that appears to be exactly what a lot of people thought. But now I guess they've been given cause to understand that that's not how things will work. And a lot of the changes are what are needed in order to run a franchise, not to keep making the game that you and your friends have mastered, or to chase trends. So a solid indication right there about Sony's position on Bungie and how they've been managing the business altogether. And we've seen that reflected from statements from leaders at Sony as well. And part of that business is, of course, Destiny Rising, which is Bungie's upcoming Destiny mobile game. And Paul Tassi posted an article stating how it is essentially Destiny Immortal, likening it to Diablo Immortal, of course. And Tassi listed some of the things he knows about the project. Firstly, that Destiny Rising is years old, and yes, it's still going to be released despite all the turmoil at Bungie. And he suggested as well that the game is made almost entirely by NetEase, formerly of Diablo Immortal, based on a very old investment deal with Bungie, where very few Bungie employees have worked on the game. And apparently NetEase was reportedly not wild about Bungie selling to Sony. But onto the game, Destiny Rising will be a prequel to Destiny 1, and will not be some sort of way to play Destiny 2 on mobile. And there are reports that while it mirrors Destiny gameplay, it is a third-person shooter and not a first-person shooter. Reportedly the game is hero-focused, where we'll play both as characters from Destiny history, plus some new ones. And reportedly the game has missions, strikes, and possibly even a raid, but there's no indication at the moment as to whether PvP will be involved. But again, he reiterates that he's heard the closest parallel here is NetEase's Diablo Immortal, a game that was lambasted by core Diablo fans, but has gone on to be a money-making hit, producing frequent new content. It's currently unclear how the game will be monetized, but if it is like Diablo Immortal, it'll likely see pay-to-win mechanics and purchases involved. And so we take all of this with a pinch of salt because it isn't confirmed or revealed by Bungie yet, but it will be interesting to see the interaction between Destiny players and Bungie, and of course this new title, given the state of affairs and sort of general sentiment around Destiny at the moment. But again, there have been recent indications that Bungie may be preparing to announce this game soon, so we'll have to see what we get. Give us your thoughts down in the comments section. I thought nonetheless it was interesting to discuss some of those points right here. Otherwise, the Game Post also reported that a Destiny 2 artist says that Bungie never paid for copying fan art a year after promised compensation. And going back a while, there was a similar situation to the recent Nerf gun thing, or the ornament for Ace of Spades, where Bungie were accused of stealing fan art. And the Game Post says the artist whose fan art was used in a Destiny cutscene says that Bungie has yet to compensate them, despite being promised compensation over a year ago. There was a lot of backlash about that, and again, Bungie's former legal chief actually released a statement and said, "What's funny about this is that it was a thing I was meant to take care of, dealing with a situation where a fan artist had their work built into a trailer, but I guess when you let go of the guy who fixes your problems, those problems don't necessarily get fixed." Since then though, Cosmo has come out on Twitter and said they promise they will track this issue down. Some more drama that Bungie don't really need there. It's kind of wild that these things have happened so frequently, if at all. Separately, Bungie have been publishing new patents for MOBA games and some specific mechanics that they've built, which are apparently going to be related to Gummy Bears, the project that Bungie have recently spun out to Sony, where a bunch of Bungie developers have actually moved over to Sony alongside the project for it to be completed external to Bungie. We won't go into it in a ton of detail, but Bungie have patented a new method providing controlling game behavior of a defensive object and characters in a virtual environment, and the method includes providing a decision tree including prioritizing sets of tasks for a defensive objective character, and each of the tasks prioritized having at least one condition for performing the task, which is interesting wording right there, but sounds like Bungie are protecting some new technology that they've developed for this title. However, of course, Sony are now taking the lead on that, so again, there's going to be plenty of stuff coming up in the future, and I'll keep you guys posted. Right there though, I wanted to round up some of the things that I've missed over the last week or so, as I have been away from home, but for the moment, there we go, and I'll keep you up to date on Bungie's upcoming announcements. So if you've enjoyed the video or found it interesting, a rating below really does help us out. Give us thoughts on what we've covered down in the comment section as always, and get subscribed if you want to see more Destiny content. But otherwise, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.